Most of the chains in the country don't care about coffee quality. And the best way to find out as a customer is go to most of these chains, look at the coffee beans. You will find them shiny, oily, black. Most of them are not sourced from the farms.
What's one insider insight about coffee that every Indian should know about?
If you are actually drinking this cup and this costs you, let's say, $300, just know the cost for making this was around 35 rupees.
Wow.
Everything that you paid on top of that was the cost of the AC, of the frills, of the ambience, of the table, of the chair, of the brand.
So, what percentage of your sales comes from, say, cold drinks versus hot drinks? And why do you?
61%. People say they drink coffee, but they drink coffee beverages.
What's the real difference between, say, a 150 rupee coffee or a 100 rupee coffee that you guys serve, for example, versus a 350 rupee coffee which you get in a big chain? Welcome to Breakthrough Moments with Priyanka Bhatt. Today's episode is all about coffee. And for all you coffee lovers, this is a business masterclass for you. You know how getting a cup of coffee in India still feels like a big hassle with overpriced drinks and inconsistent quality and taste. That's exactly why I decided to invite Abhijeet Anand, who's the founder of Abcoffee. It's a grab and go coffee outlet in India with 80 plus stores, specialty stores in the country. And they launched in 2022 and they spoke about fast, affordable specialty coffee and app-based orders. They also source the high-quality beans from all across India, and it's coffee made for people who actually live life on the move. In today's episode, we'll talk about how Abcoffee is changing the coffee game in the country, why most cafes actually fail in the coffee business because it's such a complex business, but why Abcoffee is really growing in such a complex environment like coffee. In this episode, we'll also be delving into price points, strategy, the expansion that Abcoffee has delivered to make Abcoffee a truly renowned brand which stands from the cluttered marketplace. Welcome to my show, Breakthrough Moments, Abhijeet. Very excited to have this conversation. I think coffee is one of my favorite topics, and I start my day with coffee, right? So it's going to be an interesting conversation, and looking forward to understanding the insights about the coffee industry.
First of all, thanks a lot, Priyanka, for having me.
Pleasure's mine. We produce some of the best coffee in the world, but why do 80% of specialty beans get exported instead of being produced in our country then?
The consumption in India has been curtailed by three factors. One, history. Second, by generation of passing on what we have been drinking. To give you another example, when we grew up, when I was growing up, I was watching Hum Paanch and Shaktiman. In those series, you used to see teacups in hands.
Yeah.
Today, when the kids grow, they grow up watching Netflix and Prime. What do they see in the hand? It's not
Coffee.
teacups, it's coffee. And the number three factor is a chicken and egg problem. The consumption hasn't grown in India because for a cup of coffee, if the cost is 250 rupees, whereas a chai could be $10 and a good quality chai, the adoption only gets limited to 0.5% of the country.
What's one insider insight about coffee that every Indian should know about?
That's a good one. One thing I would say to you is the breakdown of a cup of a coffee, right? So of a cost of a cup of coffee. If you are actually drinking this cup of cappuccino from a cafe, and this costs you, let's say, $300, just know that the cost for making this was around 35 rupees.
Wow.
Everything that you paid on top of that was the cost of the AC, of the frills, of the ambience, of the table, of the chair, of the brand, of the picture.
Okay, so give me a breakup. Say a 300 rupee coffee. How much goes towards coffee beans, milk, rent, staff, and profit? If you have to break it down for me in these 5 aspects.
Our model, cafe model. Which model do you want me to break it down?
Talk about the grab and go model that you guys are into right now,
Got it.
and then give me a comparison of what does it translate into, say, say a Starbucks or say a large coffee chain like CCD or a barista.
Right, so I'll just divide it into two parts, right? So let's start with what people already know. Because grab and go is something that we created in the last 3 years, a segment that was not there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a cafe segment, right? In a cafe, let's say a cup costs you 300 rupees, right? In that 300 rupees, the espresso, the coffee beans and then grind it and then extract it at high temperature and pressure, that makes espresso. Espresso will cost you anywhere between 15 rupees to 45 rupees, depending on what kind of beans you're using, right? There are only few specialty coffee chains in the country. right? So let's say 15 to 45. Then you will have milk. Let's say this cup is 300 ml cup. You will use 200 ml milk. That's 70 divided by 5, 70 for a liter. That's around 12, 14 rupees, right?
14 rupees
One
for milk.
four, right? So you add, let's say you take on an average 25 rupees for an espresso, 14 rupees for milk. That's 25 plus 14, 39 rupees,
39.
right? And that's it, right? So 39 rupees is the cost for a cup of cappuccino for the cafes. And then you have your rent. Rent typically for these chains is 20% of the revenue, right? So, and it can go up to 25% as well. So let's say 20% of 300. If I'm assuming this cup is 300, that's 60 rupees, right? So that's 39 rupees plus 60 rupees, that's 99 rupees. Manpower is another 15%. 15% of 300, so that's 45 rupees. So 99 plus 45, that's 144.
Right.
Right. Then you have utilities, electricity, and other cost, right? That would be roughly around 12%. So 12% of again 300 would be, let's assume 36 rupees, right? 36 plus, where were we? 144,
144.
right? 144 plus 36, that's 180, right? So that's 180 rupees. Now, this is the cost of a cup of cappuccino and breakdown. Now, then on top of that, you will have, if you're selling on a platform, that will charge you anywhere around 25% to 40%, depending on how big a chain you are. That again add to the cost. If you're selling on takeaway, then these costs are not there, but then you will add top of the management cost. Management cost will turn out anywhere around 10 to 20%, depending again on the magnitude of the business. Let's assume that's 10%. So that's, we were 180 rupees, another 10%, that is 210 rupees. Let's assume you're selling on a delivery channel, that's 30% of that will go to the delivery channel. 30% is 210 plus 90. It's 300 rupees. They're already almost capping out. That's where cafes really struggle to make the unit economics work on a cup of cappuccino, even though the cost of cup of coffee is 300. In takeaway, in cafe, in sitting down, that makes sense because after 210, there is a huge roadmap of another 90 bucks, right?
So that would be your profit in a grab and go
In a
concept.
cafe segment, right? In a
So the breakup that you gave was in a
cafe segment,
like a
300
cafe.
rupees cup of coffee.
Organized chain, like
Organized
a Starbucks
chain.
or any other cafe chain.
Which has a sit down environment, right?
Right.
And that's why you'll find a lot of cafe players finding it very difficult to make the unit economics work, because the only way it will work is when you have enough churn of coffee cups happening, right? Which means enough number of people drinking coffee from that particular
So
cafe.
how many cups do you need to sell in a day to break even at a store level?
Depends on the rent ratio, right? For example, for us, if it's a 50,000 rental store, considering all the cost remains as a factor of percentage same, we need to sell 64 cups a day to make it break even, right?
Wow.
Which as of now we do around 92 cups a day, right? So again, the numbers are pretty solid for us. We have several outlets which does more than 200 cups a day. We have some of the outlets which does more than 400 cups a day.
Wow.
Right? Now these are all coffee cup numbers, right? Now, if I just break it down for us, now we are in a trajectory, Priyanka, where we want to make coffee as a habit. We don't rely on incidental purchases because we are not bound by table turn rates, right? Most of the cafes and fine dining is defined as a business by how many times you can turn the table, because that's the real prime factor in your cafe. We are not dependent on that. So for us, the number of transactions matter a lot. And we're at a phase where we want to build a habit. I'll talk a bit about our subscription, our app, how we are driving the behavior. But to give down a breakup for us, a cup of cappuccino at Abcoffee is 97 rupees.
That's your cost for making the cup of cappuccino at a
Selling price to the customer.
selling price for your brand.
Yes. So a cappuccino that you got in a cafe for 300 rupees, if you come to Abcoffee, that's 97 rupees, 250 ml, same size.
And looking at the same ratio that you spoke about in terms of beans, milk, profit, rent, staff,
I'll give you our
electricity.
breakup. It will be different. So
Yeah,
there you
absolutely.
go. So for us, espresso is the highest cost for us, right? That costs us around 40 rupees itself.
Oh, that's expensive.
That's expensive because we do single origin coffee, and there are only few chains in India which does single origin coffee and has more than 20 outlets in the country, right? We are one of them. So we do single origin coffee. That itself is 40 bucks. Now you add on top of the milk. Now the milk will be another 14 bucks if you remember from that calculation. So now that's 14 plus 40, that's 54. Now for us, the leverage is that our rents are low. So our rent to revenue ratio in our model is 9%, right? So if my selling price is 100, I paid 10 rupees. Remember, in that model, it's 20 to 30%. And
Correct.
that's where we have built a leverage around the entire model, right? So that's 40 plus 14 plus 10, that's 64, right? 64 bucks, another 10 bucks for the people, that's 84 bucks. Now, sorry, 74 bucks. Now, another 10 bucks for miscellaneous costs, another thing, that's 74 bucks. So
84.
Sorry, 84 bucks,
84.
my bad. So we are only left with 13 bucks. And if I'm doing on delivery, then I get screwed, right?
Yeah.
Now for me, and I'm not even adding my corporate costs and other costs over a period of time. So for me, as of now, you can say that the people of India can enjoy the price that we are selling at the moment. And the idea is to build a habit. And for me, it makes sense because if I now start doing 200 cups a day, that 13 into 200 makes me the volume. So I mean,
Yes, it's a volume business. It's a volume
business.
game that you're
It's a
playing.
low margin, high volume business, right? So for us, it's not the AOV that we try to optimize most of the time. AOV, by the way, is average order value.
Yeah.
That you will hear a lot restaurants optimizing. We don't do that much. What we do optimize is we measure month to month how many transactions have gone up. If the transactions are going up, I know that the volume will automatically go up and I yield more MTV from the customer. There is a term in D2C which is called LTV, right? Lifetime transaction value.
Yeah.
We say MTV. What is my monthly transaction value with the customer? And if that is going up, if Priyanka last month had 5 coffees and this month she has 7, then I am making Priyanka.
So you're looking at repeat purchase, like how
That's right.
getting more people to opt and keep coming back to.
That's right. That's the business we are in, Priyanka, right? It's a habit building business.
Very interesting. I've also seen this trend, see, barring the bigger brands in the coffee industry, most cafes, like say Mom and Pop, which are in your locality, they shut shop very easily, despite selling good coffee. Why do you think this happens? What is the single cost line that kills their profitability today?
Right. I think it's rent. So it's a fixed cost. So the way I'll divide is that I'll give you an example. Today we have more than 3,000 or roughly 3,500 franchise requests. We don't franchise. Everything is company owned. We run it, we operate it, we own it. But then we have this request almost every single day. We get some of the requests on the email. Who are these people? These are our customers, right? So people come to us, drink every time, see people coming in, and they feel this is a great business. This is a business that I can also build and I want to invest in. Now imagine if we are getting this pulse, I can imagine lakhs of Indians around the country would be thinking and going through this. Some of them actually start. Where I think most of the people go wrong is that F&B business is not just about the product. It's about, for example, the business I am in. I am in a business of habit and consistency.
Yeah.
I can have 200 outlets, but if my 200 outlets have different types of coffee, Priyanka, I'm nobody, right? What people want, and after a certain point of time, food becomes hygiene, quality becomes hygiene. There is no good coffee or bad. Give you an example. 7 years back, I was in a campus interviewing, and I was interviewing in an IIT, and I asked the person, "What do you want to become after 5 years?" The person said, "I want to become the best petroleum engineer in the world." I asked him, "What is best petroleum engineer in the world?" There's nothing called as best petroleum engineer in the world. There's nothing called as best coffee in the world. Coffee that you like, sits on your palate, you can drink daily, is the best coffee for you. Could
Right.
not be for me, right? So what matters here is consistency. So what breaks in business is when people start in, they go with a lot of hopes and dreams that they have seen in other people. And they think it's very easy. It's a very high operating,
Yeah.
thin margin, high risk, volatile business, which is controlled by a lot of stakeholders, everybody but you. Right?
So
And I
how do
think-
you maintain that consistency and quality when you have 78 coffee places and just growing by the day?
So what we did, Priyanka, is we built a business where we said we are a process and ops business, right? And we are really inspired from McDonald's, right? If you look at McDonald's, McDonald's is not a burger company. McDonald's have so much of cash in the town, in their pockets, and they are almost 40,000 plus outlets. What stops them to do pizzas? Nothing. What stops them to do donuts? Nothing. But they still do burgers. Because they're not a burger company, in my opinion. They are a process and ops company selling burgers, which they can replicate in thousands and thousands of places. Same product every time, wherever you go. And you build that trust and consistency. right? So that's how we build the company from bottoms up. So when I started off, I used my past experiences and stuff, and our first outlet that was launched was not far away from where we are sitting. This is 4 bungalows. Our first outlet was in 7 bungalows in Warsaw.
Okay.
That is 3.5 years back. It was a 40 square feet unit. Before we started the unit, we had SWIs made. SWI was a term that I migrated from oil and gas industry into coffee. It was standard work instructions, right?
Standard work
Instructions,
instructions. Okay.
which was idiot proof, stupid proof, line of 10 items, be it Priyanka, be it Abhijeet, be it Ram, be it Lakhan. Everybody goes there, does those 10 things, your cup of coffee is in your hand. So what happens is you break it down into smaller problems and then you try to replicate those small steps everywhere. That's one way at the training and process level. Second, we solved at the equipment level. All our 78 stores has the exact same setup.
Where do you guys import your equipment from?
So coffee machines come from Italy. The grinders come from an Italian maker, but they're manufactured in China. And the puck press, that's one of the standardization unit that we have done. That also comes from Italy, right? So now these all things are exact replica. So today, I was just speaking to you right before this conversation. We have around 14 outlets under fit out, which means there's work going on at the same time. And I was just discussing with my teammate yesterday, and we were joking about it. And I said, it has now become baएं हाथ का खेल. And then the guy was like, no, right hand's work. I said, no, baya means left. You say it left because it has now become so easy that I can really chalk it out. An outlet for me is a 44 pieces infrastructure work. I have so many pieces to set up the unit. Then I have 23 equipment that needs to fit in. And they need to go in the exact same way everywhere. It makes your life easy when you open, right? So I think that is what we, again, standardize in opening. Third that we did was, so first was the process, second was the equipment, and the third that we did is build a formula around what works for us. So one thing that we are very clear on what not to do. What to do is something we are still evolving, and I think there's a long way to go from 78 to 10,000 as we mature in our journey. But what not to do is we learn. We know which locations will work, which will not work, what formats will work, what formats will not work, what is the rent to revenue ratio that we think that will work, what is the people cost that we think that will work, what is the ideal cost of number of baristas in a store that will work. A lot of this back working is what we have built in the process. And I think I summarize, it's a process and ops company. That's what we are, selling coffee.
Okay, so Abhijeet, very interesting question I want to ask you. Tell me, what are the different methods of preparing coffee? A lot of people want to know this, कि कैसे prepare करते coffee को? Right. How do you really prepare? Because sometimes there is a French press and, people don't even understand these concepts like French press. And so can you tell us what are the different methods of preparing coffee?
Right. So, पहले मैं ये बताता हूँ कि जो coffee beans होती है, you can't mix it in hot water and make coffee. So let's start with that process, right? So you have to grind it, and then there is a brewing method to do it. It's very similar to tea. So when you take green tea leaves, then they are dried and they come as red label tea or let's say Tata tea, and then you boil it in water and then you strain it. Same thing as in coffee. So let's start with that. So any way that you mix coffee in water and you mix it, that's not coffee, that's a pre-made concentrate. Now, when you are talking about fresh coffee, and I think that's where your question comes in, that you have beans, you grind it, how do you brew it, right? The easiest way to brew it, and I'll start with different jargons around it, but the easiest way to brew it is at home. So you grind it and you make it coarser, and you make it exactly as you make tea. You put it in a can, you put hot water, you boil it. After some time, you strain it. That's the rawest, easiest form to make, right? Desi tarika, as we say it, right? Then goes all the equipment that may be from easy to complicated. The easiest then I find is French press, right? So French press is basically working on a plunger mechanism. You keep the beans with hot water and then you apply pressure from top such that the strained decoction comes up and the coarser grinds settles at the bottom. That's French press.
And then you leave it for 5 minutes, because usually when I do that at home, because I use French press myself, you leave it for 5 minutes and then you get the coffee out.
So exactly. So the method is the same, right? So the coffee beans and the grounded coffee beans and water needs to have interaction for a while, such that the flavors and the oils can be mixed into the decoction, right? Now, this method is then used in various ways. Now, to put it easy for a lot of people who are science enthusiasts and who loves physics and chemistry, This is all physics, chemistry working out together, right? So this is coffee beans, which has oils, which has flavors, which is rich in its nature's indulgence. It needs to interact with water or any brewing thing as a fluid, typically water, at a particular temperature, at a particular pressure. And then you solve how much pressure, how much temperature, right? And the interaction time for that to happen. So like you said, beans, water, leave it for a couple of minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, put the plunger, strain fluid out. That's black coffee for you. That's French press. Then you can use mocha pot, right? So mocha pot is typically take ground beans, hot water, boil it, right? What is happening here is that when you're boiling it, again a little bit of physics, the vapor pressure that goes on the top compresses the fluid, and that's where the separation happens. It's again physics, right? That's mocha pot for you. Then you have again complicated method of V60, which is a pour over method. You can also do other methods of AeroPress. Again, this also works on suction and decompression. These are the easier manual methods. Then comes your automatic methods. Then you go in a range of espresso machines, which you put in the coffee beans, put water, it does by itself at a particular temperature, particular pressure, press on a button, put the porta filter, the coffee is there, and the espresso comes out. After some time, milk comes out. This can be semi-automatic, this can be automatic. Semi-automatic is where coffee is brewed separately and milk is frothed separately. Automatic is when both of them happens by the same ecosystem. So right from desi tarika to manual tarika to semi-automatic and automatic machines, these are the ways to brew coffees.
Amazing. And which one is the most used at homes, at our homes?
French press.
French press is
the most used, and I think the next common use is actually people end up buying a machine, because what happens is, unless you are a coffee connoisseur, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name well, the term well, unless you're a coffee connoisseur, V60 pour overs are a more technical and more passionate way of doing. So very small proportion of people actually end up doing it, and it's tough. It's not easy.
And what kind of roasts people prefer? Medium roast, dark roast, light roast? What do they prefer these days? What is the trend you've seen?
I think it varies by people, to be honest. So depending on what kind of flavor notes you want. What works the most in India is medium dark. Right. Medium dark works the best. Because imagine what are Indians migrating from? The way we solved it. We said a majority of the country has been drinking chai. Another proportion has been drinking filter coffee. They need a particular kick, bitterness, and the strength in their coffee. And you add milk, right? 97% of people drink coffee with milk in India, right? Only 3% drink without milk. So that 97% people will add milk. How do you get that kick, strength, boldness? You need to have it medium dark at least. Otherwise, the light blends, the coffee will not be tasted. And they are very good for black coffees.
And cold brews are also trending these days quite a lot. So what percentage of your sales comes from, say, cold drinks versus hot drinks? And
61%.
why do you 61% from cold
beverages.
So why do you think that shift is happening, that people are consuming more cold coffees?
So I'll put up a very, I'd say, a bold statement, right? People say they drink coffee, but they drink coffee beverages. Now, next time when you're in a cafe, observe the people around you. What are they drinking? Are they drinking coffee, or are they drinking iced hazelnut vanilla latte? Or are they drinking a frappe? Or are they drinking oat milk with cinnamon and latte, right? Or are they drinking chocolate frappe and varieties of it, right?
They're mixing a lot of flavors, you mean?
That's a beverage, right?
Correct.
So when you say coffee, and you go to the rest of the world, people will judge you when you say you have added a lot of beverage, a lot of ingredients in it. But even rest of the world drinks beverages. There's still a smaller proportion of people drinking black. Now, this is where I want to get to the fact that, right, people say they drink coffee, but they drink coffee beverage. And that is true for everything. So when you say chai, I think you were just saying that you're drinking green tea right now. That's tea for me. But what is masala chai? For me, that's a chai beverage. You add a lot of things in it.
Milk, you're adding milk and a lot of spices to it.
That's a beverage. That's not chai, right? So what I mean is that when you look at the cold phenomena, that is what cold allows you to do. Because it's tasty, it's delicious, it gets you customized the way you want, it has the caffeine kick, and you can drink it for a longer period of time unless hot, which might become cool in like 15 minutes, and cold you can consume even for like 30, 45, in an hour even, right? If it's a large mug. So I think that's where the cold trends higher. And the third factor is, if you look at India specifically, right, it's a majority of the period is hot, except the certain geographies in the country.
Yeah.
Most of the geography in the country is hotter for the longest of the period in the year.
Yeah.
So cold trends faster.
Yeah, so since you spoke about consistency, what's the real difference between, say, a 150 rupee coffee or a 100 rupee coffee that you guys serve, for example, versus a 350 rupee coffee which you get in a big chain? So is it, because obviously when you look at the bigger chains, they might be also focusing on quality, consistency, sourcing of the beans. All of those aspects become very important in the entire journey about giving that right experience to the customer. So, what is the difference between that 100 rupee to versus the 350 rupee coffee in a sit down chain where you have high rents versus a grab and go?
So
Is there one particular thing that really stands out for you? Because ultimately, both are solving for the same purpose. Both are solving for quality, consistency, sourcing of the right beans, and the taste profile.
great question.
Yeah.
This will be a breakthrough moment on your podcast.
Bring it on. I'd love to hear.
Right. So, Priyanka, you'll be surprised. Most of the cafes in the country sell less than 50% of beverages in their menu. Most of the cafes in the country sell only less than 50% of coffees from the menu and their cafes.
So, which means you're saying the food menus work more than their beverage menus.
It is mandatory for them because they are in a table turn business. Their AOV needs to be high. There are as many tables, as many occupation that can happen in a day. So you need to increase AOV. By default, the focus goes on food. Also, I'm not saying focus should not go on food. I definitely think, there are a lot of coffee companies in India which actually say that coffee should be expensive. But if coffee, and then they say the coffee consumption in India is not high. And I feel sad for that. The coffee consumption cannot go high unless you bring it at a daily habit product price consistency. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? Now, getting to the fact that you mentioned, it's another breakthrough moment that most of the chains in the country don't care about coffee quality. Even the space, they speak about it. And the best way to find out as a customer is go to most of these chains, look at the coffee beans. You will find them shiny, oily, black. Most of them are not sourced from the farms. They are sourced from companies which do bulk roasting. They don't roast it themselves. They have no clue about roasting. They claim it, but they don't. Now that's a breakthrough moment.
Right.
Now, why? Because imagine if I'm making 100 rupees today, give you an example, you're running a business. 50 rupees is coming from coffee and 50 rupees is coming from food. Your focus has to be same on both sides.
Right.
For me, out of 100 rupees that I make, 88 come from coffee. Like single-handedly, I can tell you in this podcast today that we're the only coffee company in this country which actually sells 88% beverages. That's true for around the world, not in India.
Right.
This is a similar number around the world. People will sell 80% beverages, 20% food. But we do 88% beverages in India, and most of the people don't, because then the focus gets shifted. And we are very clear what kind of business we are building, right? Now, that's number one. There are some chains, however, do focus on quality and consistency. But I think where the focus shifts around, Priyanka, is how are we trying to solve it? Like when we say, we want to become the daily habit company.
Yeah.
If I have an outlet in Warsaw, Priyanka doesn't plan her day to go to Warsaw to Abcoffee to pick up a coffee. Priyanka goes from 4 bungalows to 7 bungalows, finds Abcoffee in between, knows Abcoffee, picks up the coffee, keeps going. There's a difference. There may be another cafe where Priyanka will go and plan there, sit down for 2 hours, have a meeting with Abhijeet, have coffee on the side. So for me, the way I look at it, cafe is a real estate business with product on the side. We are a product business with entire virtue of saying coffee on the go.
So accessibility is also something that you are solving for.
Accessibility, affordability combined together with tech and convenience is where we stand for. So I think that's where the entire crux comes in. How do you look at the ecosystem overall?
Very interesting. Right. And how many of your customers are repeat customers versus first-time buyers of coffee?
So it depends on the phase as well. When we are opening more number of outlets, the percentage may vary because at that time the new customer addition will come through. So I'll give you data from the last quarter. It was 62% of repeat customers, which means 62 people came back. And not just this, Priyanka, one very interesting fact I'll tell you, and I think we'll talk about subscription as well. We launched subscription in December. last year, full-fledged on the app, right? To give an idea, 48% of the transactions that I do in offline is app, which is almost 3 times the next F&B player in the country, not coffee players, F&B players in the
So
country.
people book through the app, you
That's
mean?
correct.
Okay.
Right. Out of that 48%, 24% of the transactions are subscriptions. We're the only company in the country which has been successful in food and beverage subscription. What is a subscription? You pay up $1,000 for 10 coffees in advance in a month. You save 40% per coffee. So essentially, per coffee becomes 99. You can choose any coffee on the menu from 99 rupees to 300 at just 99.
That's a brilliant strategy.
It works brilliant. We have at any point in time thousands of card active doing subscription, right? Now, what this did was not just the repeat, Priyanka, it actually increased the frequency. To give you an idea, an average customer used to drink 3.2 coffees from Abcoffee in December. Today, they drink 7.8
In a month.
in a month.
Okay. So it's gone up double. It's almost
That's
double.
right. That's an average. So there may be some doing 1, there may be some doing 15. We have a handful of customers who buy 2 to 3 subscriptions in a month, right? Which means almost 30 plus coffees in a month. So, and we have had customers who have had more than 1,000 coffees. Like this is way 2023 data. I had a customer from Lokhandwala who had 992 coffees in 12 months.
Wow, that's massive.
That's massive. And I'm assuming that it was a lady. She may not be having herself, or maybe she was having with a colleague or friend or a relative, but she ordered 992 times on Zomato. Right? So now that's what frequency and habit is the way we look at.
And does the time of day affect sales in any way, like morning rush versus afternoon versus evening?
Oh, 100%. So evening is the best.
Yeah.
3 to 6 p.m. is where we see the peak. But it also varies by the mode of the timing and mode of ordering, right? So we divide it into 2 categories, takeaway and delivery, right? So delivery is when a customer orders in and takeaway is when you go to the store to pick up, right?
Yeah.
So for takeaway, the peak period is 3 to 6. For delivery, the peak period is actually lunch and breakfast. Right.
Makes
so
sense.
Delivery, we see lesser rush on the delivery during the evening hours, but takeaway 3 to 6 is peak.
Right. And in such a complex business like yours, do customers really care for taste more or brand name? Because today everybody is getting more brand conscious, right?
So I think in a habit product, brand is what? Brand is trust. The way I look at it, right? Either the trust can be bought or the trust can be earned. Anything that is bought is temporary. Anything that is earned is there to stay. I think we both will agree on that.
Yeah.
Right? In a category that we are in, if let's say I want to create a fad around my brand, it will be bought, not earned. Earning comes from trust, and that comes from quality and consistency, over and over and over and again. That's the way we look at when we look at.
So you
brand.
feel you are in that journey or on that path where you are going to earn the trust of customers eventually.
We are earning because if you can see, so give you a very interesting fact. We have more than 20% order market share in Bombay and Gurgaon on delivery platforms. More than 20%, right? So if 100 coffees are ordered in Bombay and Gurgaon, 20 are Abcoffee. How did that happen in just 3 years? There has been no brand in the country in such short span of time who could have taken this fear. We have. It's because of this factor, right? Number 1. Number 2, if we could say that we could get customers to see them the value in subscription. Now imagine, subscription is something that people don't know in India. We're the first ones to teach people about it, right?
Yeah.
When we say that app does not work for F&B, most of the companies in India use app as a facelift. When you talk to them, they say, where do you have? Oh, I'm a tech company. I have tech, which is app. For me, app is not tech. For me, app is convenience. What is Zomato without Zomato app?
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Yeah.
The app is the interface, and then how do you interact? So every Tom, Dick and Harry can have app. But how can you deploy to meet business matrices is where app comes in. To give you an idea, when we say we have 48% of orders coming on app, you know what it does for us? It helps me reduce a person in the store.
And that's the larger chunk, right? Versus people actually walking in and taking it takeaway,
So
right?
if let's say 100 customers are coming to the store, 48 order on the app.
Okay.
And the 52% order manually to the barista. But what I was telling is, Priyanka, imagine if I have if I have this number, which are roughly 50% of my orders coming on the app, I reduce a staff in the store. Right? My hole in the wall concept that we have launched, in the hole in the wall concept, you can't even place an order by going manually. You have to place it on the app. What it does, I can run the store with lesser manpower, better unit economics, which means I can always keep my cost low. Coffee prices went up by 120%. Cost of a cup of cappuccino went by 5 rupees up. That's it. Right? You absorb it and you pass on to the consumer. Unless and until you pass on to the consumer metrics, the consumer depth won't increase.
Right.
That's what we look at.
Right. And what factors, Abhijit, do you feel people are switching to a different cafe? Like people, in general, when you look at restaurants also, you always want to try something new. So what factor drives people to switch to cafes?
So, no, very good question, right? So, as I've always been saying, we are not, as a brand, we are not your intentional spot or incidental spot, my bad. So, like you said, what happens in cafes is a very similar mechanism what happens in fine dining. For example, you're going out for dinner with somebody, loved one. You'll go to a place. Next time when you go, you will say, let's explore a new one. Because that novelty factor always is there, right?
Correct.
Same thing happens in cafes. Because cafes work on incidental work. What incidental means? Today I want to work in a certain environment, in a certain catchment. I want this. This is a new, brand new cafe. There's a lot of buzz. Let's go and visit. It doesn't become your daily habit. Now, unfortunately, coffee as a business is a habit business. So that's why we don't position ourselves, and we are not those companies. When we say we are grab and go, we're not those incidental companies.
Yeah.
So if Priyanka can be an Abcoffee customer, Priyanka can also be another cafe customer. And we're okay with that. Depending on what do you want in the day. You drink thrice a day, you want it on the go, you want it high quality, you want it at the right price, you'll come to Abcoffee. You want to sit down with Abhijeet for an hour, you'll not come to Abcoffee. You'll go to a cafe. So it's a life cycle. of a
Got it.
customer.
And how much does packaging, cup design, or presentation matter in terms of sales?
Oh, a lot. A lot. So, we went through a massive revamp on the brand, and as you can see, right, this is now all green with new logos and everything. And I think we have got amazing love and appreciation for what we have done. It matters a lot. It's a huge factor to the cost as well, by the way, right? The cost of the entire cup and packaging in our business is insane. Almost in double digit, right? Now, it matters a lot because it gives you that feeling of you're having a right product with the right hygiene, with the right brand, and gives you that feeling that you're doing good to yourself, right? So it matters a lot.
Right. And what is the average spend per customer in your outlets in different cities?
So the AOV is, if I have to say that average transaction value, that
Yeah.
would be 264 on
This
an
is
average.
on an average, all the locations
All
combined?
locations, that's right.
Got
Bombay will be highest, followed by Delhi, followed by Bangalore. If I have to divide it by 3 ways.
Got it. And is it like the metros see more consumption than the smaller cities?
We're not in smaller cities yet, right? So
Okay.
we are only in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore at the moment.
Okay.
So we're not in smaller cities yet, so I won't be able to comment about our business.
Right. Okay, now let's talk a little bit on the marketing side, right? That's one of my favorite segments. So coffee is very emotionally relevant to people. It's very cultural in that sense in India. So how do you build brand loyalty around something that's so personal?
So, a lot of ways, right? To give you an example, it says finest, fastest brew for you, right? There's this very small messaging that goes through when it says something has specially come for you. We have kept it minimalist and we have kept it in a way that it's pretty straightforward. Small QR code which talks about the quality of the product and tells you where are the beans so strong to let you imagine how with single origin, which farms it has come through. That's one of the ways. Second way is when you go to our stores, many times you will find messages on the cups written for you. Small messages which says you're amazing. Small messages will say you'll have a great day. You build a personal rapport with customers. If you open our Instagram on any single day, you'll find a lot of story reshares about the captions and about the messages that our barista partners write for the customers. And you'd be surprised, we never taught this to our barista partners. It came to them inherently. And when I look back and I say, what if I had taught them? Would they have done it? I would think no. Because it's an extra work. People will never do it unless they feel they need to do it. So these are the ways. Third thing is, and I think in our business, I'll again repeat again and again and again, it's the consistency part.
Yeah.
If you are consistent about what you say, what you do, what you make, what you brew, people will come back to you, because I think that's the least people expect, and unfortunately, that's the least that is available in the market.
Right. So,
So, yeah.
along with consistency, what are the other channels of communication that give you the highest return on investment when it comes to marketing?
Social media, Instagram, LinkedIn. You'd be surprised we have 3 times more in LinkedIn followers than Instagram. It's very
Wow.
interesting, right?
So, how do you analyze those followers? Does that convert into sales for you?
It does, because there's a lot of word of mouth marketing, right? For the first 2 years, Priyanka, we spent nothing on marketing,
Hmm.
right? And so it was a word of mouth that actually spread a lot. So when we say that we have 3 times more LinkedIn followers, if you open LinkedIn on any single day, you'll find people talking about us, about the innovation we have done, about the new things we have done.
Hmm.
And these are all organic use cases, general people who just love the speed of the execution, the way we execute, right? And I think that has worked really well. Second thing that has also worked really well is that our social media on Instagram, for example, most of the content is created in-house. So the faces that you see, the characters that you see are all in-house colleagues. So that belongingness, that heartful feeling, saying I'm a part of it, that's insane. And I think our team has built up, like our marketing, brand and marketing has built up such a robust process and system where we say, we want to make our customers as a voice. Let them be in part of creating the brand that we both see, if you're creating value, and then grow it organically. And I think it has worked really so well
Yeah,
for
so
us
that
so
was
far.
my next question actually to you. So, organic content versus inorganic content, which one do you support and why?
Organic content any single day, Priyanka. I think there is authenticity with organic content. And that's when we say that organic content most of the times is created by our colleagues. There's even more heart and soul put into it. And I'm always a firm believer of organic content. And I've seen over the period of time as well, it works better than inorganic.
Got it. And how do you measure effectiveness of your marketing campaigns?
Couple of ways, right? So one of the ways is how many people are talking about it, right? Is it hitting top of the head moment? So, for example, when we launched ProCaf a couple of weeks back, and we saw people automatically, without any push from us, talking about his usefulness, that's success for us, because
Yeah.
we saw there was a gap, we solved the gap, and then people are automatically talking about it, right?
Yeah.
A couple of days back, we launched a campaign with first India's online transit F&B inside city flow buses, and we saw a couple of case studies coming out from people. We know that we are on top of the mind. So top of the mind marketing is number one way to think of. Second is engagement, obviously, which is more hygiene. And third is, let's say if we have activated a campaign, is that product picking up fast? Way to say, when we launched ProCaf, in 10 days, it took up 3.86% of the category size of beverages,
Insane.
right? Which means not only that we solved the right problem, the communication was to the point, right? So in just 10 days, I mean, we still think this is a big category, it will go beyond 10%, but I think these all tell you that it was communicated, marketed, and overall presented to our customers in the right way.
So, do you guys do paid ads at all to push the brand forward?
Very limited, but paid ads are done for CTAs. We never do brand marketing with paid.
So, word of mouth versus paid ads, which one are you doing more
Word of
right now?
mouth. So paid ads we do, for example, I'll tell you what we do paid ads. We do paid ads for properties. So we only do paid ads for CTAs. We don't do paid ads for products, for brand. We don't, because we think virality should come of organic content, right?
Got it.
For example, we are looking for properties and we want to communicate in Bangalore. That's where we do paid ads, because then we want people to write to us and say we create a funnel.
Right. So, tell me, which is the one single led promotion that you've run which has garnered or yielded you great results?
So I would say there have been plenty, but I think one that made fantastic was a brand video that we made in June this year.
Okay, what
Right?
was it about?
It was about the rebel. It was about Abcoffee is a rebel and the rebel has arrived. As in, we are no more an underdog. And the video garnered more than a couple of millions of views around the country. A lot of people wrote to us. They were very happy talking about that finally there is a brand which actually is taking on the status quo and trying to get India to what it should be in this category. That did brilliantly well. And then we have seen massive, just to give you an idea, our business have grown by 70% in the last 3 months.
Oh wow, just because of that video.
I don't think that video, but I think there's a sequence of events. I think one video doesn't do everything, Priyanka. I think it's a sequence of events that has worked overall, but I think that has been the triggering point. And then everything we have done, right? Be it product innovation, retail model innovation, people that had the way they have acted, the way everything has happened, entire platform presence has only grown dramatically.
Got it. So if you have to sum it up and say, give me 3 reasons why Abcoffee really stands out in a very crowded marketplace in the coffee industry, what would those 3 reasons be?
Uh, I'll give you that answer, but I'll reverse it. Tell me a company which is similar to Abcoffee in the country.
Very difficult for me
There is none, right?
to
And I'll
think.
tell you because there is no grab and go chain in the country. So everybody's cafe, and we're not cafe, right? We are very, very clear. There was a very good podcast that was done between me, Rohin from the Ken, and Deepak from DSG, and we talked about coffee, and we made a 4x4 quadrant. And we talked about where is Up Coffee, where are the other cafes. So other cafes are all great. They're in incidental consumption. They help to make the market. You know where Up Coffee comes in? We grow the market. We're not the
Interesting.
creators. We are the growers of the market, right?
Hmm.
You know coffee. You drink once, I'll make you thrice, right? That's where we are. And in that quadrant, we talked about daily habit, and then talked about incidental consumption, right? Now, to answer your question directly, number one, we're the only company in the country which is grab and go with this strength. Number one grab and go company. Number two, the kind of product portfolio that we have, I don't think anybody in this country has, right? From bobas to matchas to procaf to mangoes that we had to cold brews that we had, it's just massive. And every month we innovate. So kind of innovation muscle that we have built is insane. And top it out the way we market. Open up coffee page on social media and open any other brand page. You will see a delta. We don't say we are a coffee company. We say we're a lifestyle company. And I think when you look at these three factors, for example, recently you will see by the time this podcast actually goes live, we have actually done a campaign with Tira. We're doing a massive campaign with Tira. We actually launched a lipstick cosmetic brand in Gurgaon 2 weeks back, right? D2C brand. So we say our horizon is not F&B. We do everything that a consumer goes through in a day. So the way we approach marketing, product, and the entire business is
Yeah.
just unique in its own way overall. So plenty of reasons that you
Very
should come
nice,
to
very
coffee.
interesting. No, thanks for sharing that. Would be very excited to see the campaign with Tira whenever that
Oh, it's
comes out.
beautiful.